warm welcome to Red Ice Creations Radio. My name is Henrik Palmgren. I'm the editor and webmaster of redicecreations.com, and this is our internet talk radio show recorded from the west coast of Sweden. You can join us here every Thursday and Sunday for our regular program, and don't miss out on our subscribers section if you want to have full access to our growing radio archive. Today we have Jake Kotze back with us on the program. Mr. Kotze, of course, is behind the excellent blog The Brave New World Order.blogspot.com, and Jake is behind the concept of synchromysticism. Beyond the regular postings that Jake do on his blog, he has been producing some brilliant videos based on his articles, research, and his concept. And today I hope to talk with Jake about some of his latest videos and even maybe the method of how he's working with the video material and a lot of interesting points that Jake has brought out in the last few videos that he has been producing. So let's say welcome back to Jake, and thank you so much for joining us. It's very nice to finally have you on the line, Jake.
It's a pleasure, Henrik. Thank you.
Excellent. How are you, my friend, and how are things over there?
Oh, very good. Very good. And yourself?
I'm doing very fine, thank you. We have some problems here connecting with Jake, but I think hopefully the line will hold here and we'll be able to do the entire show. But, you know, thinking of your production of the video material, I think it's really, really good, and it feels like you're kind of knocking it up a notch for every new video that you release. I think it's getting better and better all the time, and also, of course, I think the use of video material is an excellent kind of medium to get your message and idea across. Let me ask you, how do you find it working with video? Is it easy, more difficult? How's your method?
Well, it's been a very interesting process for me because I've had to teach myself how to do it, and it's just been getting more and more layers to it. The more I've been getting into it, tweaking with sound and playing with all these features, but I had to teach myself how to do it. And moving from writing primarily to, at the moment, I'm concentrating on doing the videos. It's proved to be challenging. I feel like I can. It's not as expressive personally of your feelings, but it is more. It does sort of show the idea of synchromysticism specifically related to movies and motion picture very well, because you actually show a clip instead of just a still from it.
That's right. Yeah.
I think it works better for what I'm trying to do at the moment.
Absolutely. And let me ask you, how is the planning aspect of it? Do you kind of storyboard all the stuff that you work on, or do you kind of use your some of your articles as the main blueprint, as the base storyline for the videos?
Well, in the beginning, I was using my articles and just sort of trying to translate them into films, little short movies, and then I sort of progressed to actually developing new ideas with the films, and I've just found that it's sort of changed the way I look at the synchromysticism, and they sort of develop as I'm making them. I do not have a completely set out idea. I have a rough overview, but generally as I'm working with it, I will get ideas, and I'll realize that something is really going to connect very well with this other idea. So I'll keep going back and forth. There is an overarching idea, but generally they develop as well as I'm making them.
So does it take a long time to get them together, the pieces? They're about, I think the duration time is very good, as it is now. I guess it's more around 10 to 15 to 20 minutes, something like that. But does it take a long time to get them together?
They take generally, at the moment, they seem to keep increasing as I'm developing my technique. I feel they're increasing in difficulty because I'm trying to put more effort into them. I keep trying to make them better. So the gestation period is more time and effort, but I want to increase the quality of the production and teach myself how to do it. And the 10-minute mark is generally because of that's the maximum amount you can upload on the popular sites like YouTube. So I've been to the 10 minutes, and like at the moment, I'm actually working on videos that are longer, but I'm cutting them into parts.
Okay. How about, don't they allow longer on Video Google?
They do. do. I thought about Google, but I have so many people as subscribers on my channel on YouTube that I've sort of felt like I could just stay on YouTube for a while, and I feel it's I've grown comfortable with it for now, but I might experiment with other programs. Who knows what will develop?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
the internet is changing so fast.
That's right, absolutely. Those was one of the questions. Nice to hear that you're working on longer pieces. I did want to ask you kind of, the plans for your future, because as you say, I think the quality of every video is increasing all the time, and it feels that you're, certainly are developing. So, what are your plans for for the future?
Well, for now, I'm planning to keep them in the 10-minute length, make some that are, more than one part, maybe 2 or 3 parts, and then eventually move on to maybe episode length, or documentary length. Maybe I'll just take more time and consolidate everything I have into a movie feature length or something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, admittedly, at the moment, the videos are all very low production values. I'm making them alone in my apartment, on my computer. There's nothing flashy about them, but I'm developing the idea, and eventually I'll have other people helping me out with that kind of thing, and who knows where it'll go. I'm taking it as it comes.
Absolutely, yeah.
At the moment.
Absolutely.
And they're also I think they're more popular than the articles I write, because people can get it quickly. 10 minutes, you can get the idea, and you can go on instead of sitting for an hour and reading a very in-depth article. You can get that information across very quickly. But I do feel you sort of give prize your own expression when it comes to how you feel about what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, and isn't that right? Because we just talked about that, before we came on here, about the fact that there's so much information out there, and I think that one of the advantages with both working with video, but also is the ability to actually kind of condense the material and make it into very short but very powerful pieces, and that kind of is the idea of what it is about nowadays, I think, because as you say, people can sit for hours and it never boils down to the concrete good pieces.
And in the media space on the internet, there's so much competing for attention. You want to keep things short and concise and powerful, because a lot of people don't have an hour to sit there, or unfortunately we don't have the attention span, or there's just so much out there that you want to maybe just watch for 10 minutes because you've got 10 other things you want to do tonight as well before you go to bed.
Absolutely.
So that medium is working for me at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Perhaps I will save the writing and work on a book or something in the background. Making these, and then that could be another way for me to express myself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's lacking in the videos.
I mean, what do you use, like Windows Movie Maker or something like that now, or more fancy software?
Just standard. I download torrents and I go to work on Windows. It's nothing fancy.
Yeah, sure. But again, it shows you, what you can do these days with very simple tools, and very...
Exactly. What you can do it sitting alone in your apartment.
Yeah.
No problem. Yeah, anybody.
Absolutely, yeah.
Self-taught. It's amazing what you can do with technology at the moment. Yeah.
Absolutely, I totally agree. And again, I wish you all the best, for the continuation of the production in the future. And as I say, I think it's getting better and better all the time. So I can't wait for the next one. That's the entire, the feeling I get, every time I watch one. Like, oh man, this is going to be so good. So continue.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. By the way, let's talk a little bit about your latest piece. I don't know if you're working on one right now, but the one you have up on your blog now is called the 9/11 Stargate video, and there's some very interesting points in this video, and I think there's a few points that you mentioned in one of your previous posts on your blog, and this is one of them, of course, is about the sphere outside the World Trade Center building, and there is an interesting story behind it all and some of the connections that you mentioned in the video. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
For sure, yeah. The sphere is a sculpture that used to stand right in between the two towers of the World Trade Center, and it was made by Fritz Koenig, and it was intended by the designer of the World Trade Center Plaza, the famous designer Yamasaki. He intended that sphere to represent the Kaaba at Mecca, It has these concentric circles around it. It was set in the middle of a fountain, and the idea was that it would rotate, and he wanted this to be a representation of the Kaaba at Mecca. And that is a very interesting thing in itself, because the Kaaba is this cuboid structure, and I trace it back to being descended from the holiest of holies, the cuboid shape from the Great Pyramid or the King's Chamber, and also the tabernacle, and these concepts. The Abrahamic faiths, they have this fascination with the cuboid shape. The Ark being another famous one. Even Noah's Ark is also actually a cuboid if you think about it, and that's part of what I'm working on at the moment. But
interesting.
the sphere, the sphere stood in between the World Trade Center, and if people who are familiar with the concepts that the towers could very likely have represented Jacob and Boaz, it's sort of like we have a representation of the holiest of holies in between the two towers. And earlier I've speculated that when the towers came down, it was sort of a unveiling ritual. The holy light was coming out and Isis was released, and now we have a symbol right in between them of the holiest of holies, the Kaaba, and the towers coming down. So I thought that was a very fascinating sort of, to me, a confirmation of the whole idea of the 9/11 as a ritual.
Absolutely. Do you know if that's the, what should you call it, the official version that this actually is a mimicking the Kaaba stone?
Yeah, it's Wikipedia. I didn't get that from like some strange esoteric site.
Sure. Yeah.
Wikipedia. It's a general idea that it was intended to be the Kaaba. Obviously, the interpretation of it being part of a mega ritual on 9/11 would be fringe, but no, that it's intended to be the Kaaba. That's consensus stuff.
Interesting. And it's of course interesting that we have the kind of the Islamic or Muslim connection, with the ritual itself, at least on the official version of the story of what happened that day. But it's interesting that they actually managed to put something like that in the financial center of a Western country. And if you think about it,
exactly, it's very fascinating. And in that video also I explain about how in the movie The Wiz, which came up to me because of a lot of people on the internet were talking about it. Synchronous 23 was talking about how she had connected the idea of Aiwass and the Wizard of Oz, the look of the Wizard of Oz, and also the words Oz are, Aleister Crowley used that. In Liber 77 he had this symbol of Oz. And in the film The Wiz, we see the sphere, this representation of the Kaaba, which I sometimes connect to the Ben stone, depending on how you trace back these things. We have the word Oz, Crowley 77, right on the sphere, in between the World Trade Center, which was Jacob and Boaz, or the pyramids, in another way of looking at it, if you follow Ralph Ellis's version of Jacob and Boaz. And, another Muslimic connection that I just thought of that I hardly ever bring up, but that I think should still be looked into, is when Flight 93 crashed. They're building a memorial there. The original design on the grounds where the memorial was built was a red crescent that was facing Mecca.
Yeah.
Pressure came down onto the designers, and I think they've changed it. I'm not sure what the story is at the moment about that memorial that they were designing, but it was a giant C, like the crescent moon of the Muslim faith, pointing towards Mecca, where Flight 93 crashed. It's very bizarre.
Oh, man.
And that you can also check on Wikipedia. That's not fringe. Just the interpretation, again, would be fringe. But